Aloha and welcome back, all of my Gaia guardians. I want to talk today. I just actually got off the phone with my mother, and we had a really profound conversation that I want to share with you because as we're having the conversation, it's like the energy is shifting in the moment in real time. And I think it is really important for us to remember that when a challenging situation is presenting itself in the moment, we have the opportunity to completely shift the frequency or the energetics of the situation we're in by how we respond to it. And so, this is what I want to talk about today. And it's been a conversation that's been coming up a lot lately. And we have the ability to be incredibly powerful in how we perceive our outer reality based on the way we choose to respond to it, our response ability, the ability to respond to any given situation that is in highest alignment for our path and for our happiness and for our joy and for our ability to create something new. So, when a challenging situation arises, we always have this moment where we can pause, we can take a breath, and we can pivot, and we have the opportunity to break a pattern. I call it this transmutation of an old pattern. We have the ability to shatter it. And so in this conversation that I was having with my mother, she was talking about all the things that have been really challenging for her in the past 24 hours. Getting a diagnosis from the doctor around her back, and being told that she would end up in a wheelchair, being challenged by, just little technological things, by having to send things back, by having, being in a conversation with friends of hers who were actually gossiping, and her realizing that that didn't feel good, and how could she shift it. And one of the stories that she had told me is that she had gone to the post office because she was having a challenging situation returning something to Amazon that she had bought. And they were telling her she had to print out QR codes, put it on the box. And for her, I mean, she's older and this is not something that's easy for her to do. And so when she went to the post office, the lady was so nice to her and said, "Don't worry about it. This happens all the time. I'll help you with this. I'll do this with you." And so in that, it was like she was able to settle into an energetic of somebody actually hearing her, somebody who on the other side was compassionate to a senior citizen who didn't actually know the process that would be seem simple to you or I, and was able to put herself in those shoes and actually help someone out. And the person behind my mother was in a rush, and she was somewhat upset because she kind of wanted to get whatever she needed done and move on. Well, when her turn came up in the line, my mother was still there, and whatever the process was, she owed $1.50 for something. And the woman didn't have change, and she only had a 20. And my mom turned around and just said, "Oh, I'll get this for you. I have $1.50. It's fine." And that woman was so taken aback by the simplest, tiniest generosity of caring and compassion that it stopped her in her tracks. Something seemingly tiny. Do you see what's happening here? How it's getting passed on from person to person? When we can become present to what is happening in our outer life and begin to approach life with this curiosity and this wonder and this genuine desiring to connect to our outer circumstances, we begin to receive back all of our power to shift them. And outer reality will always challenge us. It will give us the initiations we need to begin to have that mutation, to begin to shift that old pattern. And so, if we can know this and be present with it, then we can meet life in a way that is a co-creational process, opposed to you feeling like you're the victim of your outer circumstances, because you never are. And that's never true. Your outer reality is a mirror. It's a holographic mirror showing you and giving you the opportunity to choose something different. Your happiness, your joy, your presence, it lies in your ability to respond from that highest octave to your outer environment. So when you begin to play with this field, you can come into a whole new resonance no matter what is happening in your outer circumstances. What happened at that post office was that the lady who was working chose to be kind and compassionate and show that to my mother. That same energy then permeated her field. And when she was presented with an opportunity to pass on that same consideration, compassion, caring, and kindness for another, she passed it on. This lady who was rushing through her day, not seeing all the little magical and miraculous moments, was then able to actually stop in her tracks and see what a gift was occurring right before her. And I would bet my life that some point during that same day, that lady who was in a rush was more kind, more compassionate, and more caring to all of the people that she came in contact with, because that was an aha moment, an epiphany, and a lesson from the universe in how to slow down and actually receive life in a way that's joyous. And we talked about this and how, even if you find yourself in a situation, for instance, where people that you love and care about are gossiping about another, how can you shift that and perhaps plant the seeds of loving compassion within the people who are in your immediate circles, if that is the way that they're choosing to wield their energy. And I shared with my mother that when we come from that place of genuinely feeling what others feel, genuinely wanting to be generous with our love and our caring, how much that can shift not only the external world, but especially the internal world of those around us. When we become aware of how energy works and we can hold a frequency that is one of loving, compassionate, unity, just kindness, how that begins to shift the awareness of others. So many people are on autopilot that they don't even stop to recognize that they're creating this constant chaos in their lives, and we see so much fighting out there. We see a world that is at war, countries that are at war with one another. And so many people, have this prayer for peace on earth. Praying for peace on earth is wonderful, but until you have reconciled the war within you, until you can actually be peaceful with your neighbor, with your family, with your extended friend circle, and even actually with your enemies, until you can find peace in all of your outer relationships, finding the peace within, ceasing that war within, that fight within, there'll never be a peace out there. And so, how can we begin to bring more kindness and compassion out in the world? We can respond differently to the situations that are presented to us. And it is in that space between the this outer challenge and how we respond to it. And that space in between is where all of our power lies. And if we remember that we are wielding that kind of power with our energy, maybe we will take that pause, we will pivot, and we'll embrace something brand new, and we'll break that cycle and we'll break that pattern. And know that when we break that pattern and infuse something with a much higher vibrational reality, it is like a wave that ripples out into the ocean of energy for everybody to be felt. Just like the Akashic Ocean that I was talking about in the last video. You have no idea if you could see the ramification of your words and your thoughts and your actions. You would be so precise with everything you say and do and think. There is an entire reality that you are creating all of the time. It is imperative, especially as we move into this great unraveling, this great purification that is happening. It is essential that you understand, understand the reality that you are weaving from within you and the reality that you are weaving out here, because you are a master creator, whether you have remembered it or not. And everything is created from energy, which is light, which is information. And you encode it, you code it, just like you code a computer. You code the light within you with information. And so to become a master of your own inner coding, you have to understand what you're holding inside you at all times, which is why shadow work is so important, which is why seeing when you go into that frequency of anger, of jealousy, of rushing, of inner talk that's violent, of how you speak to another, it's like you have to feel the energy, read the energy of every situation. And you can only do that when you're present. And you can only be present when you're breathing deeply, slowly, slow down. If you are running around from place to place, you're running around with your nervous system in sympathetic mode, you're not going to be able to feel anything. You'll find the more you slow down, the more you breathe, the more you bring yourself into the present moment, your whole nervous system will relax. And then you'll be able to feel the energy all around you from others and from yourself, what is emanating, and you'll know how to begin to master it and construct it and reweave it and create something that you actually are intentionally creating instead of being unintentional with it. So that's a lot of information for today. It's something that please contemplate, practice this each day. First of all, by setting your breath to a rhythm in the morning. Begin with 10 or 15 minutes of just contemplating, visualizing the energy that you are going to hold, calling in the pillar of light, of the highest frequencies of divine light and divine awareness, helping you to stay centered in your heart and clear and centered with everything that you're going to be today. And then in the evening, clear your energy, just calling back all of the energy that you have scattered outwards, calling it back to you, feeling yourself whole and complete and purified again as you call in the violet flame, washing away, burning away anything that you no longer need to carry. And then slow down, slow way down. Watch the interactions. Become an observer, not only of yourself, but become an observer of your world. Watch the interactions between people. You'll begin to observe their fields of energy. And then you'll be able to consciously be creating yours with every interaction. taking full responsibility for what you are creating in every moment. And this is where the mastery begins. And this is where we begin to find peace and joy and empowerment to know that we have the ability to shift everything when we shift our consciousness and where we're placing it. All right. Thank you, Gaia Guardians. Deeply grateful for you, and for everybody who's doing this work. The more of us there are, the more we shift this planet into one of peace and unity, oneness, one of respect, one of integrity, and one of intentionality. One by one, this is what we do. Thank you. See you next time.